A storyteller. I wonder if he knows the ending to the legend of the spurned prince. Jarrett never got past chapter 7.
Woolgraf writes something down and hands it to Beardotter. Why don't you finish it? The best stories are the ones you write yourself.
Go ask him, lady. I'd pay a coin or two to hear a good tale right about now.
The prince dies. There, now, off to bed with you.
This illness, this rot, it sounds very much like the disease that came to Home Forest.
Woolgraf contemplates what it must have been like to see a horrid plague ravish Beardotter's homeland. He puts his hand on her shoulder consolingly.
Then the ballads were right. Blight knows no borders, and from death takes its orders.
If the scum who infected your forest are here, we'll round up every last one of them. You can set your clock by that, lady.
Jarrett is here somewhere, Source Hunter, hidden in this blood village of hers.
Woolgraf embraces Beardotter gently. Whatever comes next, he'll stand by her side.
Well, what you waiting for? Shoot out her eyes before she does away with us, too.
If that be true, girl, I suspect you're in for a nasty surprise about dear old Dad.
If she soaks in flower stink much longer, deer will smell this lady from a field away. I'll save a leg of something good for when she begins to starve.
Actually, why don't you join her? Not for any titillating reasons, but because you could do with a dab of floral perfume about that quaintly odorous physique of yours.
All right, comrades, nothing to see here. Let's clear out and give the lady of the house a little privacy.
Woolgraf gently starts to shove everyone towards the door. He may be an accomplished thief, but he's plainly out of his element as a peeping Tom.
He says he's an immaculate. But I thought they'd been banished after the death of the Source King.
Ancient evils are like corpses among necromancers, girl. Sooner or later they get uprooted. And usually they're a damn sight more ugly than they were in the first place.
Immaculate. Haven't heard of their kind, but I don't like the sound of 'em.
Woolgraf hands Beardotter a note. Sorcerers still abound, my forest friend. Here I stand, living proof of their wickedness.
Days they dragged their souls through fields of dust. Feet frecked through fields unfamiliar.
Woolgraf listens to Beardotter in awe like he always does. If he could speak, he'd strive to be as eloquent as her.
And gathered, long the dregs of empires o'erturned, to rest in shadows of black suns.
What are you going on about? I think the dust's getting to her, comrade.
A strong, potent male like that prefers a sing-songing twig like her? Oh, life outside Home Forest is strange, Source Hunter.
Come now, girl. Love is blind the world over. Why would this place be any different?
Woolgraf slips Beardotter a note. Don't be jealous, it reads. No one is a better sing-song than you. Beardotter gives him a warm smile, and Woolgraf's face goes as red as an imp's.
Can't you get a voice box in your sight from here? Just saying, you're a pretty good shot.
Bold as Brachus Rex was he, though only half as holy. The Source King. He is more than legend.
You know the Epic of Barren Falls, I gather. You're smarter than you look, and smell.
My blade's been waiting for this fight since it was forged, comrades. If these Immaculates aim to resurrect such an ancient evil, it'd be my honor to send him flying back to hell.
Woolgraf nudges Beardotter, as if urging her to go continue her quotation, but she seems lost in wonder.
I'd love to set mother upon this cruel hiss-beast.
Woolgraf smiles and nods approvingly. He'd love to see Mama Bear go berserk on this nasty goblin as well.
She'd merely turn away. Even a rabid bear knows better than to poison itself with goblin flesh.
Just say the word, lady. Unless you meant... Well, when you said mother, I just assumed. Onwards, comrades!
Next time you must introduce me to your handsome friend. His musk dominates the breeze most pleasingly.
Excuse you, young lady. No comrade of mine is bringing a trawl to the campfire while I've got air in my lungs.
Woolgraf's gaze drifts from Beardaughter to the troll and back, then his face crumples into a frown of repugnance. Whatever mental image he conceived, it must have been a disturbing one.
I don't know what kind of trysts you had in that home forest of yours, girl, but it's a very good thing you left when you did.
The death man is nervous as a squirrel. I'm certain he's hiding something.
You may be right. I suspect he has much more than mere skeletons hiding in his closets.
She said it, not me.
Woolgraf seems nervous as a squirrel himself. Corpse houses, as he tends to call mortuaries, give him the creeps, or so he explains in an unsteadily written note.
Amazing! Our kind can remain in heat all year, it seems.
So we can. Such are our great carnal powers. That source of so much passion and folly both. Passion and folly. Synonyms, really.
Well, the cat's out of the bag. Nothing a healthy dose of the fear of the seven won't fix, though.
Catching Beardaughter's eye, Woolgraf flexes his muscles like a peacock showing its plumage, confirming her observation.
Careful, friends. The great, beautiful trolls of this cave have cursed it with knee-weakening magic.
You and I, madam, as the saying goes, differ greatly in our conception of beauty. Nevertheless, your warning stands.
Woolgraf freezes in his tracks, then proceeds putting one foot before the other very carefully. Beardaughter's warning has unnerved him.
Your freaky troll lust is gonna set our party in a panic. Don't worry, comrades. This place is no more cursed than my boot.
I sense something here. A great darkness, yes, but more than that, a great power.
Woolgraf eyes Jehan nervously. If even the demon hunter is getting fidgety, he is getting downright scared.
Into the pregnant wilds they went. Into the devil's den they crept.
After what we've been through, buddy, I'd say we can take on just about anything.
And so we meet yet another adulterous harpy. No doubt she's guilty as sin.
Woolgraf retorts with a note. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Charming little lordette. Trust me, I know.
Another? I don't know which Cecile you've been turned through, buddy, but this one ain't exactly an adulterous harpy nesting ground.
A wolverine would have a more forgiving fuse.
Risk their lives for love, would they? I'd not expected to find foolish ignorance among hardened warriors.
Woolgraf hands Jehan a little bag of sugar and a note. Eat this. Maybe you'll finally say something sweet next time.
Take it from a hardened warrior, sourpuss. Once the battle's over, love's all that's left to turn to.
You've read the Hannic cycle, haven't you? A burning battle, blooded light, were nothing to Han's lover's eyes.
Ah, cats. Such beauty, such grace they have. Magnificence incarnate.
Woolgraf too eyes the cat with great sympathy, though for other reasons entirely. He styles himself a cat burglar after all.
Slinking charlatans, more like. I wouldn't trust a cat as far as I could throw it, and I'm a world league cat tosser.
Not a lot of meat on her, is there? Someone ought to fatten her up if they want to get a good meal out of her.
See how these rats labor. Even the lowliest beast bears a loyalty utterly unfound in the so-called higher species.
Am I not more faithful than a rat, Jehan? And here I thought we were starting to be friends?
It isn't the high species you've got to worry about. It's these revolting orcs.
Woolgraf smiles a crooked smile and rolls his eyes. Extolling the virtues of rats strikes him as supremely silly.
Another betrayed soul. It is weakness that he weeps for her. Her death was deserved.
Deserved death. Good for the fine people of Cecile that you're not the keeper of the lighthouse, then.
Woolgraf stares at Jehan with unmitigated disgust. Such dour cynicism cuts through his jolly spirit like a razor.
Speaking of deserved deaths, will you can it? Or do I need to can you?
These ghosts are fools if they think they'll find happiness now. New betrayal awaits, even in death.
Woolgraf waves at Jehan dismissively. He, for one, is glad to have been part of these ghosts' happy end against all odds.
Come on, Grumps. It ain't so dire as all that. They'll probably kick off their ghostly boots and have a nice time of eternity.
It's like the tale of Cassandra, the Source King's sister. She too was betrayed in death. Some say she still haunts the forests of Rivellon.
And thus ends the lesson. Trust not even the one you think loves you the most.
Fortunately, it's pretty simple for you, Jehan. You're not so dumb that you'd ever think someone could love you.
That simply isn't true, my friend. Jarrett would never betray me. And the bond between us is deep as the sea beyond these cliffs.
No, Woolgraf writes, but do trust the one who you know loves you the most.
These may have been but lesser demons we fought, but demons they were. What, I wonder, did they protect?
I can't be certain, but it smells like a desperate animal.
Woolgraf is giddy with excitement. Demon protectors? That simply has to spell treasure.
I don't know about you, but I'm good and ready to find out. Lead the way, comrade.
Ah, dead imps. What a delightful sight.
Woolgraf hands Jehan a note. If ever someone deserved to lose his tongue, it is you, not I.
Descended from demons, aren't they? Better off face down in the snow, then.
Poor little creatures. Oh, the laws of the wilds are fair. This is merely carnage.
A sorry thing it is to witness such a creature's passing. There was divinity about it.
Woolgraf scribbles something down and hands it to you. Only thing divine around here would be a hot water bottle in strategic places.
Not to mention a good 50 pounds of venison.
I don't understand. Who'd fell a stag and leave such fine meat behind?
Why do they attack us? It makes me sick to the stomach having to kill these graceful wolves.
They'd eat your heart out if you let them, Jehan. Nothing graceful about that.
Go for the eyes first. Admire their gracefulness later.
Woolgraf is rubbing a herbal ointment into a bite wound he just received, glaring darkly at Jehan as he does so.
We should have saved this beast. Damn your callous ways.
Nature must ever take its course, my friend. None can interfere for long.
It was just a dumb beast.
Woolgraf eyes Dead Alfie with an impassive stare. You're not quite sure whether he's agreeing with Jehan or contemplating which part of the animal would yield the best cuts of steak.
Let's see how long her storytelling lasts. Let's see how long it takes this woman to abandon him and cast him back into misery.
Woolgraf looks at Jehan with true, heartfelt pity. A man so jaded must have been hurt unfathomably deeply.
Hopefully, while we're still in the area.
Gods above, will you stick a stocking in it already?
So this cad is leading these beasts to the slaughter. I say we slaughter him.
Leading them to the slaughter? I don't understand. If he wants to eat them, he should just eat them.
Now, some of us enjoy a nice red steak with our evening ale.
Woolgraf positions himself between Roy and the menacingly advancing Jehan. He is not about to engage in carnage over a handful of cattle.
This totem leaves a nasty taste in the mouth and a vicious slitting at the back of the mind. I smell demons.
Did somebody say bonfire?
Demons? In that painted tree? Oh, what a strange world you live in.
Woolgraf looks at the ground and sniffs wryly. All he can smell are goblin droppings.
Look at this. Look what these immaculates have wrought. But I will avenge these animals' spirits in kind.
This slaughter is an insult to the natural order. Death without purpose. There is no meaning behind it.
Maybe if we get a fire going, we can get a nice stew going before the meat rots.
Woolgraf nods in agreement. If there are sorcerers to kill, he's as game as ever.
Careful, comrades. I've seen sorcerers infuse even lowly fowl with dark enchantments.
By Balberith's bonds, you see sorcery in the clear blue sky, don't you? I bet you'd scream havoc if I were to give you a mirror.
Nonsense, Venerable One. Those are only chickens. And plump, juicy ones at that.
Woolgraf picks up a chicken and throws it at Medora, who dodges the fluttering fowl with a terrified scream. He is beside himself with mirth until she returns the favour with a vigorous kick of her boot to his hindquarters.
Even the would-be wizards inflict chaos and misery.
Any dilettante does his craft ill justice. Judge the novice, Medora, not that which he practices.
Woolgraf nods towards Medora in a quiet sign of agreement. He is as ready as she is to acquaint sorcerers with a sharp blade.
This one is like a wild turkey, strong enough to claw your eyes out, but stupid enough to drown in a storm puddle.
Dancing devil sprites, comrade. A talking staff. Burn it before its sauce tendrils start leaching your eye jelly.
Yes, yes. Please smash that evil piece of craftsmanship before I end up pregnant with sauce homunculi.
Woolgraf suddenly begins to move in strange spasmodic ways. Everyone is stunned until he holds up a note that reads, "Dancing Devil Sprite."
Ah, your world is more horrifying than I ever knew.
Thinks she sees the future, does she? Ha! Think she'll see it coming if I slap her upside her empty head?
Woolgraf is watching the fortune teller with grave intensity. If I could ask, he seems to wonder, would she tell me one day I'd speak again?
Ha ha! Your temper is so like Mother's, Medora. I sometimes feel she is here with us.
Will you if I slap yours?
Well, kick my cap and call me Sue. Taking tasks from back dealers, are we? God's almighty.
Your squawking is so much like an angry mockingbird's.
Must you look every gift horse in the mouth? Tenebrium may well prove to be of incalculable value to us. And us, unfortunately, still includes you. Sue.
Woolgraf doesn't share Medora's scepticism in the least. He knows well that where there are trolls, there is gold.
So many dead civilians. It's an honor to visit the fallen.
Woolgraf bows his head in reverence and clasps his hands in prayer, earning him an appreciative nod from Medora.
The fallen have no use for honors or visits. Their days have passed, ours have not. Let us not waste them on pointless ceremony.
But theirs is not a sad fate, I think. To join the grass, to become food for the trees and flowers. What could be more peaceful?
So that's the White Witch, eh? I expected someone a little more evil. I can't say I'd cut her down from a stake, but she sure has fewer horns than I expected.
Oh, if only Jarrett were here to meet her. He would have loved to lay eyes on the White Witch of so many legends.
Here is a woman clearly deserving of respect, Medora. Please, for once, let not your sauce-addled presumptions cloud your judgment.
Woolgraf stands transfixed. He doesn't seem to be as much perplexed by Ikara's witchiness as by her almost otherworldly beauty.
That purring sound. Mind control vibrations, I'm sure. Don't be seduced, comrades.
That cat is a miracle of creation. Don't you dare befoul it with your moronic delusions.
Woolgraf pets the cat, then dramatically acts as if he's been put in trance. Medora is horrified until he gives her a wink and a smile. Thunderclouds gather about her face.
Sorry, Medora. I didn't mean to frighten you.
A talking head? What dark sorcery is this?
And a talking arse. Would that be sorcery too? No, of course not. That is called Medora.
Woolgraf throws back his head in silent laughter. Contrary to Medora, he seems to be quite entertained by a head that can talk despite being quite bodiless.
Oh, a strange fellow, isn't he? Hello, little friend. Oh, don't be afraid. What's your name?
The mind of a child. A monster like that.
Child or no, Woolgraf writes defiantly. He'll pay for what he did to you, milady.
Sometimes the most brutal beasts know not their own strength.
And here I was thinking you'd relate perfectly well to a childlike mind.
I knew that dark-dealing old man dabbled in source. To the gallows, I say.
Ha! He's not a sorcerer, merely a simpleton. And if you'd hang each man for being a fool, there'd be not enough rope in the world to go around.
The gallows? Well, I've heard of such a thing, but I've never seen one myself. I don't think I care to either.
Woolgraf throws Medora a stern look. He's not the type to take pleasure in seeing an old man swing.
The immaculate snake sprouts a new head wherever we look. If our murder victim's one of them crazy cultists, anyone could be.
Maybe you are one of them without really knowing it, Medora. I know you to be paranoid enough to contemplate the possibility. So, contemplate.
Woolgraf hands Medora a note. No matter how many heads, we'll keep chopping.
Perhaps the Attenborough who kidnapped Jarrett is another head of the snake. Oh, I hope he has not suffered a fate like Jake's.
A look of disgust disfigures Woolgraf's face. Leaving a man to fend for himself against the undead clearly strikes him as an outrage.
Don't give it another thought, Woolgraf. He'll survive if he's fit. If not, he deserves to be culled.
I know the feeling, brother. A true source hunter would never abandon a citizen like that.
Terrible the wilds have been so corrupted in this region. Nature ought never to turn against its children. But we ought never to turn against our own kind either.
Woolgraf is all resolve now that a rescue mission is underway. Like a knight protector, he stands by the stranded archaeologist's side.
Your wilds are more dangerous than mine. But if you have sworn to protect this man, then I will swear it too.
The pickpocket fancies himself a paladin. Let's see how well you fare on your noble quest, for the dead don't make the distinction.
Let's get this man back to Sicil, comrades. Not even a flea will harm him while he's under our care.
Woolgraf stares at Belegar with both admiration and bewilderment. How can a madman like him have such devoted sweethearts?
You look befuddled, Woolgraf. Know then that the heart and the mind are distant cousins at best.
Haven't you heard the story of the slug and the saltfish? If they can find love together, I suppose there's hope for anybody.
Is there any doubt he cast a love curse upon these poor damsels? If a wizard ever tried that on me, I'd slice him where the sun don't shine.
Woolgraf looks entranced by the game of cards in progress. You just know he's the type to quite literally keep aces up his sleeves.
What are these pretty little cards for, then? Woolgraf, do show me.
I could have known the rogue would drool at the sight of gambling, that occupation of imbeciles.
Well, I've been known to lay down a card or two myself in my heyday. When this is all over, what say I get to know the contents of your pockets?
Woolgraf eyes the freshly healed Frederick with unmitigated revulsion. No doubt he wouldn't have spent the power of a bloodstone on an immaculate.
Disgusting, isn't it? Better let this twisted son of a devil rot.
He may not be the best sort, my friend, but who are we to let him die? A human can't be as good a judge as fate itself.
You'd have rather let this man suffer, Woolgraf? I didn't think you capable of cruelty. It's good to know you are.
Woolgraf grins arrogantly at the still suffering Frederick, leaving you no doubt he heartily approves of your decision not to spend the power of a bloodstone on an immaculate.
Your eyes fill with cruelty, Woolgraf. I thought I'd never see the day, but I'm glad I have.
He may not be the best sort, my friend, but who are we to let him die? That is for nature to decide, not us.
Oh, well done, comrade. Better to let this twisted son of a devil rot.
Woolgraf urges you to search the dead immaculate's body. The foul creature wouldn't talk, but perhaps his corpse may reveal information still.
Looks like we found the cat that got your tongue, Woolgraf. Or at least one of its cubs. Maybe we'll find your voice back, too.
Well, buddy, would you look at that? Revenge on a sorcerer. What could be sweeter? Couldn't have happened to a better guy, Woolgraf.
I don't celebrate this man's death, my friend, but I am glad that his end will bring you some measure of peace.
Woolgraf looks at you warily. Didn't these legionnaires deserve better than to be ratted out for telling a little white lie?
You frown for the benefit of cowards, do you, rogue? A smile would suit the occasion better, for cowards are the bane of the brave.
Who wouldn't tell a little lie to return to the ones you love? I'd do that and worse to find Jarrett again.
The hand of justice is a swift fist. Dishonesty should be rewarded with dishonor, and this pair has gotten its due.
Woolgraf smiles and winks. Good show, he appears to imply. These legionnaires deserve better than to be ratted out for telling a little white lie.
The hand of justice ought to be a swift fist. It sickens me to see dishonesty rewarded.
Who wouldn't tell a little lie to return to the ones you love? I'd do that, and worse, to find Jarrett again.
Your mirth is misplaced, rogue. There is no place here for cowards. They are the bane of the brave.
Woolgraf wags his head disapprovingly. How you can put pure practicality before two creatures' love for one another is beyond him.
You'd rather we had acted as interspecies pimps, Woolgraf? Love may not discriminate, but a line must be drawn somewhere.
Your heart is black as night. Who are we to interfere with love?
Trust me, buddy, this pair will be better off apart. These delusions of love need some time to wear off.
Woolgraf grins broadly upon having heard your decision and gives you a thumbs up. Saving love from heartbreak and loss, that's what it's like to be a hero.
Their words of love are a poem to my ears. I am glad we will keep their secret safe.
Yes, Woolgraf, yes. Let's celebrate our having acted as interspecies pimps. Truly a tale for the history books.
A man and an orc, comrade? You can bet Mother Nature's kicking herself in the sit-down over this mess.
Woolgraf gives you a knowing look. He seems to think the mare is a few arrows short of a quiver.
A source delirium if ever I saw one.
I hope there are no large predators around, or the mayor may find himself easily hunted.
Ah, old age. The stealth-like destroyer of faculties. Delirium doesn't afflict him, rogue, merely decrepitude.
Woolgraf and the imps signal to one another in a great show of mirth. The imps and the impish seem to get along just fine.
Hey, look at 'em go!
The little clowns are kind of cute, aren't they?
Look at them, gleeful as can be. Some would admire their childlike wonder, but I detest their dewy-eyed bond.
Woolgraf gives you an envious look. It would appear he quite fancied some quality time with pretty Ruby himself.
No need for that rueful stare, rogue. All you'd have gotten from her is an itch in unpleasant places.
Oh, would you simmer down already?
Think she knows any good stories, my friend?
Woolgraf looks at the crumbled skeleton as if in a daze, then gives you a look dark as a thundercloud. A few words and death. Not very chivalrous.
There, my friend. He's in a better place now. I'm sure of it.
A talking chunk of bone ain't a person, buddy. No need to get your feathers in a fluff.
A dead man died, and yet you'd mourn him. Ridiculous rogue. You think you know good from evil, but believe me when I say the compass of your convictions is all askew.
Woolgraf smiles as he looks on, while the skeleton cherry-picks the perfect new skull. A friendly pat on the back tells you he approves of your kindly reassuring a dead man his soul is safe.
Blech. Watching a talking skull choose a head is like watching a dog do a backwards crab walk. Gives me the heebies.
Ooh, I wonder who he'll be next. I've heard stories of changelings, but never anything like this.
We should have bashed his skull, not spur him into choosing another. That would have been kindness. But who am I trying to make see the light, but the blind leading the blind?
Woolgraf winces as the snowman tells his tale. Right in the carrot. That has to hurt.
We don't have any such creatures in Home Forest, but I must say, he's quite charming, isn't he?
Oh, come off it. It's a popsicle, not a person.
Bah, what a horrid place this is. Such cold is unheard of in my homeland, as are ludicrous creatures that only think with their carrots.
Woolgraf stands awe-stricken by the tapestry of time. Even if he had a voice, you know he wouldn't find words for its majesty.
Shall we look up the details of your existence, Woolgraf? Or shall we skip it and save you the embarrassment?
Never could I have dreamed of something so fantastic. Isn't it beautiful, my friend?
So time itself's a magic carpet, is it? What a load of... Why's that Weaver lady giving me the eye?
Woolgraf looks on incredulously at the kowtowing goblins. Fawning fools, the lot of them, he appears to think.
If they're happy, who are we to argue? In my time in your world, I've seen people worshipping far worse things than a piece of wood.
A sorry sight, are they not? Worship an idol and you'll become an idiot.
It's a scary world out there, my good man. Can't blame these critters for turning to their faith for comfort.
Dromedary! Ha! Don't know why I said that, but I sure like saying it. Dromedary.
Ha! Wait, I want to try! Skullduggery!
Would you hush, you fool? Or do you want to attract every foe in a mile by blurting out random examples of fauna?
That's it, Woolgraf! Get it all out! You've earned it!
Sitting on Sarsfield's beaches, looking at the prim young peaches, having me some jolly times, making up these bawdy rhymes. God, it's good to have a voice.
Just 'cause you found your voice doesn't mean you gotta lose your manners.
I've never heard such a song, my friend. What does it mean?
By Naga's nails, your words were barely tolerable when they flowed from the pen and downright insufferable now that you can pronounce them.
La 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 la. Baggery blood puddings. I could have been an opera singer.
You'd make a fine singer of songs, Woolgraf. I'd listen to you as long as you'd let me.
If you say so, buddy.
Perhaps you're aware that characters in operas often die tragic deaths. I'd be happy to act out such a scene with you.
I have to admit, it was easier being a sneak when I didn't feel the urge to blurt out random words whenever the fancy strikes me. Like, cattywampus.
Woolgraf, have you ever considered cutting out your tongue for professionalism's sake?
All the better. Maybe getting your voice back will put a little honor back in those bones of yours. I know you got it in you.
In that case, I won't be bringing you hunting anytime soon.
I'll tell you, Governor, I'm so glad I don't have to make all those silly signals anymore. Even after all those years, I look no better than a one-armed mime.
I thought it was pretty handy myself. Never know when you need to sneak up behind the enemy and signal to your partner when to pounce.
Yes, I'm sure the governors are absolutely delighted by having their thief-turned-tattletale by their side. Let me resort to a cliché even you may understand. Silence is golden.
Oh, don't say that, Woolgraf. You had a special language all your own. I thought it was very interesting to see.
Woolgraf hands you a little note. One day you'll go to hell for what you just did. Disgraceful!
Does it really matter to whom a few little treasures go? The memory of a man is in his family's hearts, not in his gold pieces.
You sneak and steal, but draw the line at forgery. A little hypocritical of you, wouldn't you say?
Forget hell. I'll make short work of him myself. Disgusting.
Woolgraf hands you a little note. Went out of your way for that poor widow. You've a kind heart. Well done.
Justice done. The source hunter way. You'd have made a good hunter yourself, Woolgraf. That much I know for certain.
Does it really matter to whom a few little treasures go? The memory of a man is in his family's hearts, not in his gold pieces.
Oh yes, what kind hearts they have. As kind as those from whom you stole every last penny, no doubt. Ah! Does your hypocrisy know no bounds?
Woolgraf grins and waves his magical quill triumphantly. This must be the very room he once stole it from.
It's just a little quill, isn't it? And you've made such good use of it after all.
The rogue has returned to the scene of the crime. The behavior of a psychopath, that.
You know, in this case, I'm not sure to be angry with you for stealing, or glad you've got one over on the old dog who used to live here.